train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
I didn't see it.
I wish that fighters appreciate the science of boxing more. When GSP, one of those fights he trained with Freddie Roach, and he came back with that fucking jab, it made waves, but a lot of people didn't copy that.
Well, Arlovsky did first and was like, "No, let's just go boosh." You know, he's like, "Holy shit!"
Amanda Nunes,
remember?
Amanda Nunes, boxing trainer, is Howard Davis' son.
Okay.
In American Top Team, so she's.
I don't know why people don't incorporate that much more.
There's
just so much to learn.
You said there's 3 levels of striking, pretty much. In the UFC, you know, we had a discussion last night when the jiu-jitsu guy, 170, came in. You know, he came in. He was a great jiu-jitsu guy. He won a what's his name? The guy that triangled Chael from the top.
Damian Maia.
Damian Maia. That guy came in. He won the first couple matches jiu-jitsu. Then somebody told him he was a boxer.
Yes.
And he started getting lit up. And now he's fucking back to just hit me once,
and you know what?
I'm going to grab your leg, and it's over.
Ronda.
There you go.
There
you go.
That could be Ronda.
100%.
If Ronda just said, okay, I'm going to take a year off, I'm going to go to the Olympic wrestling facility, wherever. Just focus on wrestling. Still work on your striking. Go with Dwayne Ludwig. That would be awesome. Or Rafael Cordero. Mix it up. You know what I mean? You got to change shit up now, obviously. But wrestling should be the focus. When you see a Ronda Rousey promo, you shouldn't see her hitting mitts. You should see her shooting,
Armbar.
getting the clinch, double leg takedown, singles. It should be wrestling every day, twice a day.
But think about her camp. Her whole camp, it's just a boxing gym. Her head coach is a boxing coach, so they want her to be this boxer. People sold her as the next Mike Tyson. So you have all that coming. And she was murking girls, remember? I was on board, too. I'm like, damn, her striking. She's knocking bitches out. Then you saw...
It's the level. It's like, what's the level she's knocking them out at? You know?
Yeah, but I think the media and a lot of people are like, dang, she's a knockout artist. So you hear those. And her camp's going, you're a knockout artist. You can strike with anyone.
Right, and her coach, like, look, that was always the case. You remember when Gerald fought in the UFC? It was always the case when Gerald was was he a black belt back then or a brown belt?
No, he was a brown belt.
Really good jiu-jitsu guy, though. But his fucking striking coach had him convinced that he was a Thai boxer. Yeah. He's like, you're going to go out there and you're going to kick. And I remember Eddie and I would train, watch him hit the bag and hit the mitts and stuff. And I was like, man, there are some scary guys in the UFC. And he got a real scary one, and Josh Thompson.
Well, yeah.
And Josh Thompson was like, yep, none of that. Crack.
No, it didn't go down like that. It didn't go. No. What ended up happening? No, what ended up happening is Gerald's jiu-jitsu, Gerald Strieben, as we're talking about. He was my first student. Before 10th Planet, I was teaching jiu-jitsu to a guy named Gerald Strieben. He was a blue belt at the time. And I brought him up, showed him he got really good at the twister, really good at rubber guard. He first meat hook rubber guard triangle in MMA history in a Gladiator Challenge show. He was kicking ass, and then he fought Jean Silva in England, in London, and it was a spectacular match. Joe showed that fight to Dana White. Dana White gave him a shot, gave Josh Thompson. Boom, right off the bat. He started working Muay Thai with this Muay Thai coach, and it was 6 months. He was training 6 months with them, right? And he wrestled in high school as well, so he'd been grappling total at that point.
Is that Joey?
What are you
breathing into the mic?
No.
I'm hearing some...
For sure, Joe.
Must be. I was confused in my head.
It sounded like a submarine. You know that?
I hear it too.
You know, it sounds like a submarine, right? But anyways, so he was, and it's an interesting point. I was just thinking about this. It's the exact same thing. It's when a striking, like let's say I got a striker, Muay Thai came in. He'd been doing Muay Thai for 10 years, and he wanted to learn the ground. And he was doing MMA. He's already fighting MMA. It comes up a lot. I'm going to show him jiu-jitsu. I'm going to be in his corner. I'm not going to be telling him to take his ass down and work your fucking jiu-jitsu. Pull guard. I'm like, it's been 6 months. Let's relax.
But egos get involved.
What I want to see is that dude win with his Muay Thai, and it gives me another fight to get his jiu-jitsu again. The longer we avoid the jiu-jitsu, in my eyes, the better. We got away with another one. Now we have another 4 or 5 months to work on the jiu-jitsu.
But that's a good way of looking at it.
But there's a lot of strikers out there. There's a lot of striking coaches out there that'll take some grappler in, teach him striking for 6 months, and then corner him in an MMA fight, and like instruct him to stand with this motherfucker.
Do you remember what
and
he
I gotta
said?
pull the guy to the side and say, dude, don't listen to this guy. You're not standing with this motherfucker.
Do you remember what he said?
You know how many times I had to say that to like my guys? I go, don't listen to this motherfucker.
Always.
You're taking this motherfucker
Even
to the
Hodger
ground.
Gracie came out throwing
Do you
jabs.
remember what he said? Do you remember what he said to him?
He's
in the corner?
Bangkok ready.
Yes.
In 6 months,
Yes.
he said it was Bangkok ready. He's going to go out there. So this is what ends up happening. Luckily, hey, but you know what? It was a good thing. It's a good thing because this is what happened. Is he had him so believing that he was Bangkok ready after 6 months of Muay Thai that when he did the walkout in the UFC, he came out with
the Muay Thai
full
thing?
Muay Thai
Yes.
shit. Dude, with the Muay Thai headband,
I
the
love
Muay Thai, a bicep bracelets or whatever the fuck they are. Dude,
Traditional
full Muay
shit.
Thai garb, dancing and doing the Muay Thai thing. He was in the octagon and did, he went around the octagon and blessed
Doing
like
this?
Yes, doing that.
Doing this?
And Josh Thompson sitting there, and I talked to Josh Thompson since then.
He's
You
a
know, and,
killer.
Josh Thompson wrestled in high school, and he's a really good striker. He was fucking up people off his back. He was triangling people. We knew all about Josh Thompson. Gerald was not, he was not in the best frame of mind for that fight. You know what I mean? Because Josh Thompson was a fucking killer back then. He was a killer.
Well, he was in his prime back then. That was Josh when he was one of the top like 5 or 6 guys in the division before the UFC.
Man.
Yeah,
Before
so
the
Dennis-
UFC got rid of the 155-pound division, it was him and Eve Edwards.
Yeah.
And Eve Edwards knocked him out. That was like Eve Edwards became the uncrowned king.
So this is what happened. So luckily, and this is according to Josh Thompson. Told me, Josh goes, dude, I was so worried about his stand-up based on all that Muay Thai ritual stuff that when we saw the fight, my whole thing was how
Get
are
his
we
ass
possibly
down.
no. The whole thing was for sure Josh Thompson's not going to want to go to the ground with Gerald. That's where all his good shit is. He's fucking people up in MMA. All his fights up until the UFC was fucking people up with his jiu-jitsu. So how are we going to get the fight to the ground? We were thinking about pulling an elaborate, unorthodox guard pull. How are we going to do it? That's what I was thinking. I go, because 6 months, I go, I know he thinks he's Bangkok ready. That's 6 months, man.
Bangkok ready.
So
It's a great t-shirt.
So
Bangkok ready.
Josh takes him down. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? Thank you. He takes Gerald down because he's so worried about his Muay Thai. And Gerald, dude, right away throws up a hellfire with his guard. He threw a lot of heat. It was pretty badass to see. But at the end of the day, first, he almost had him in an armbar. Josh pulls out. And then there's like a scramble on the ground. Gerald goes for a leg lock because he finally pulls out of his guard. And then Gerald was really good at leg locks. And he went for a leg lock. And then Josh Thompson hit him like in the back of the head and knocked him out.
Josh is a killer.
He
Yeah,
hit
that
him a
was one of
couple
those.
times,
Yeah, that was one of those going for leg locks is risky.
What started this? No, what started this all off? Those coaches that get these fucking people convinced that they're a
strikers.
killer in one particular.
You see it
area
in
where
every
they're not.
camp, though, because in every camp,
it
especially
happens.
if you have like a superstar camp, and this is coming from my own personal experience, you have a superstar wrestling coach, boxing coach, jiu-jitsu coach, you're spending your time with them. They want to see you win
With their shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
With their shit.
Yes.
Even
And it's nice.
Even
It's
strength
nice,
conditioning
but
coaches
the
go, you see the
W-
way he tossed them off?
The W should be number fucking one. It's nice when they win with some shit, of course. You're like, fuck that. You're like, you showed me that shit. That's always good, but it's all about the goddamn W. That's number
That's
fucking
why you
one.
gotta have like a head coach. You got to have a head coach that's not a striking coach, not a jiu-jitsu, like a head coach, like a Matt Hume. That's
Yes.
a head coach. Like when he works with DJ, they do everything.
Yeah.
They work on submissions together, spar together. They work on all these different techniques, and it's total technique and tactics oriented conversations and
How many
training
Matt Humes
sessions.
are there, though, in the world?
There's like 5,
If
but
that,
only one
if
that's him.
that.
Honestly, this like in my mind, it's like if he's not number one, it's him and Faraz Zahabi.
I count 2 that can do it all.
Yeah.
That really know
Yeah.
the game in and out, can do a game
Yeah.
plan from standing to wrestling to grappling.
Yeah, I think those one guy might be better for you, one guy might be better for the other, but those are the top dogs.
There's 2.
because they're such wizards on the ground. They're wizards, and they could physically do it too. That's
Yes.
like a big part of it.
And plus, they know the transition. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, if you go to a pure jiu-jitsu guy, you're like, dude, this isn't gonna work. If I commit both hands, I'm gonna get blasted in the face.
Do you remember when George Gurgel, he was a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back when there was very few black belts, but then he wanted to stand and bang with everybody.
And that was his thing.
Yeah, became his thing, standing and banging, and that happens so often. It's so crazy, and it's so rare that a guy comes back and figures it out like Damian Maia has. Damian Maia tried it that way for a while.
Yep.
He got sucked into it, and then he figured it
out.
Beat up a few
exactly
times,
what Ronda should do.
And he took it to the, what's that expression? You go to the dance, or what took you to there? What's that expression? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You know?
I know what you're trying to say.
And what happens is, with a lot of I saw a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu guys come into the UFC that their hands are men's.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like a 3 striking, and they never evolved to that. Now, the fucking striking is evolving quick.
We get Jacare.
Quick, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Quick, you know.
It used to be that the only guys, the only black belts that got to the UFC were like the guys that were only dedicated their lives to jiu-jitsu. They just started learning striking. You could
like
tell.
Pano.
You could tell, like, holy shit, they're just trying to fucking get some kind of clinch. It's obvious. But now there's so many goddamn black belts in Brazil now that it's not about. It's all about. You know, here's 100 black belts in the camp. We're only going to take the best strikers, like the fierce ones. You know, the days of pure jiu-jitsu guys coming out and looking like this, they're long gone now. You can't get through the minor leagues with
Well, in a
striking
way,
like that.
Your attitude is like, I got this.